All right, all right. Welcome everybody to Main Event Fantasy. Hope everybody's feeling good today. My name is Nick, aka Perfect 216, and we are ready and back to do some more best ball drafting right here on Underdog Fantasy. That's where we like to draft most, if not all, of our teams. If you don't know what we're doing best ball drafting. Best ball and underdog means that there is no time commitment during the regular season. You draft your teams, and the best players play. There's no management. There's no waiver wires. There's no trades. It is draft it, and you're in. So without getting too far into things, we're going to do some Best Ball Mania drafts tonight. I think we're going to get into two. So if you are in here with us, I will give you a quick countdown and you can jump into this draft with us. You're just going to be an Underdog Fantasy. We're going to do Best Ball Mania tonight. If you don't know what Best Ball Mania is, it is the largest best ball contest in the world. Over 672,000 entrants, $25 entry, $2 million for first place, $1 million for second, and so on and so forth. So we're going to get into one of these and then probably another one behind that. So while we're waiting, a little bit of discussion today is going to be around, we're going to start going through the different divisions, I think, as we do these streams and just talk about reviewing the teams and the players from each of these teams. That seems like a fun way to do this instead of just going by position. Because 2 days ago, we were on here and we had a lot of questions that were coming in talking about, hey, what do you think of the Packers, or what do you think of the Dolphins? And so it just got me thinking, why don't we talk about it? Why don't we talk about the teams and kind of go division by division? And we're just going to start with the AFC East. I think will probably be a best way to go while we're in the middle of winning $2 million here. So while we're waiting for this draft to start, I'll give you a quick flash. I'm just going to jump over here. We're going to start with the AFC East. The AFC East has the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and the New York Jets. So with the Buffalo Bills, we'll talk a little bit about their starters. We're not going to spend too much time in the backups other than the Ray Davis here. We'll talk about Josh Allen, James Cook, Ray Davis. This is their current depth chart. Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, and Dalton Kincaid. The rest of the guys in the team, other than Ray Davis, are really not much worth drafting, so I'm not spending too much time on that. So we did get in at the 109. Good spot to be in. I'm excited about it. See how this goes tonight. Not too many badge drafters in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. So we'll see if there's some weird stuff going on. So with Buffalo, I think some of the obvious players are guys like Josh Allen, right? Like we know that Josh Allen he was QB1 last year. Let's just kind of talk about where he's at. He was a QB1 in fantasy last year. Technically it was QB2. I'm sorry. QB2, 379 PPR fantasy points. He's been number 1 or number 2 the last 5 years in a row. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So if you think he's not going to be a top quarterback this year, you're absolutely lying to yourself. So Josh Allen is a guy that I definitely will be clicking. I'm perfectly fine with where he's going. I'm not going to reach out of my way for quarterbacks, but Josh Allen's a guy I'm definitely going to have some shares of. I don't like to pull him too early, but I'm not afraid. He's one of the 4 quarterbacks that I'm not afraid to draft in the early rounds if need be. All right, let's see what Mac Manny. I don't know. Sounds like Pac-Man. Can't read your name, brother. I'm going to assume he's going Puka here, and I'm going to be just fine with that. Yeah, and we're going to get my man Malik Neighbors. Y'all know I'm in on Malik Neighbors. Love a target hog. Love a guy who wants the ball. He's my kind of guy. So I'm definitely in on him. So with Josh Allen, we kind of talked about him. I think everybody should get him. Where he goes in drafts makes perfect sense. So I think everybody should be just fine and feel comfortable drafting him. So that one's kind of an easy one. Just going through some of the rest of the guys on there. Let's do the running backs. James Cook, Ray Davis. So James Cook, I wish he was going a little later than where he's going right now. Not my favorite click because I like some guys around him a little better. Hang on one second. All right, so Ashton Genty is ADP of 12. We're going to get him here at 16 to pair up with Malik Neighbors. And what's cool about this is that Ashton Genty and Malik Neighbors, Vegas and New York Giants, play each other in Week 17. So the correlation there in Week 17 works out really good. Shamrock, what's up? So this is the Best Ball Mania tournament. So let me kind of back up for a second and show you. So Best Ball Mania is the largest contest or largest tournament in fantasy football. And $25 entry, $672,000 will be in it. $2 million to first place, $1 million to second, and $500,000 to third, and so on. There's a ton of money to be won in this contest. And so this is the big one. The most you can draft up to 150 teams in this. It's the maximum amount of teams you can draft. And I absolutely will be drafting my full share of 150. So I will max draft. We'll call it max drafting this tournament. This is the tournament that we really want to win. Now, listen, beggars can't be choosers, right? If I win, the puppy and I win 50,000 or 100,000, that's great too, right? Who's going to complain about that, right? But the dream is obviously winning 2 million in Best Ball Mania. So that's kind of what we're shooting for. So we're off to a really nice start here. Nice value on Genty. Neighbors goes where he's supposed to. They correlate in Week 17, so I'm excited. Just kind of jumping back to the Buffalo conversation. I think I shared this, when I talked about James Cook. So James Cook is not a guy I get a lot of, but I do want some. I'm not out on him, but I just wish he was going a little bit later. Ray Davis, where he goes in drafts, I perfectly fine getting him, so nobody should be worried about him. And then the wide receivers. So Shakir, I don't mind getting him in any draft with where he goes. I think his ADP is fine. The problem with Shakir is I see him as a floor guy, meaning to say he's going to catch a few passes every week, but he's not I don't see him as a Tyreek Hill, right? He's not going to catch, 10 passes for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's just not the type of receiver he is. So I don't love him. But if I have Josh Allen on my team, I will absolutely try and stack him with Josh Allen. Or if I'm weak at wide receiver for some reason because I went heavy running back, then I have a very good chance of wanting to go ahead and pull the trigger on him. Speaking of which, it may be ironic we may end up with Josh Allen right here. And that would be kind of fun. I mean, we're going to go one of these is where we're going to fall. Josh Allen goes. Let's just go ahead and we'll get our premium quarterback or our elite quarterback, if you will. I don't have a problem grabbing him here. See what comes back around to us at 40. There will be plenty of receivers available. We don't want to get too far behind in receiver. And we do have our anchor running back in Genty. We have our elite quarterback in Lamar. And as I continue to share, because you have to start 3 wide receivers every week, 4 if you include the flex, wide receiver is not a position you can get behind on. And the drop off in these drafts is huge at wide receiver. You get a bit of a tier drop off at round 5, and then another tier drop at round 7, and then you're just hoping you get some guys that hit later on in the draft. So there's definitely some options here. I'm okay with any of these receivers. We'll just take the best, the highest one that falls. I have a ton of Tet McMillan. He's my most drafted receiver out of these 4. But I don't have that much Mike Evans, so I do not have a problem. Grab it. Mike Evans here. I'm not going to be overweight on Mike because Mike Evans is a guy that I think is he's going to slow down eventually. They have other weapons, but I do think he's going to be a red zone target, so he'll still, fall into some touchdowns for sure. Would you consider picking up both Shakir and Coleman? Yeah, great question. So 100%. So when you're looking to stack, your quarterback with their pass catchers, the optimal way to do it is you minimally want to have one, but I would say the optimal way to do it is have two. You can get a tight end and a wide receiver or two of them. So when you get past two, that's where it gets weird, where like if you get 3 or 4 pass catchers, we call that kind of like an onslaught. And you don't necessarily, maybe that's not optimal to do that from a mathematics standpoint. But I stack them very often, and I've triple stacked them because their offense is so good. Now, Keon Coleman is fine. Josh Palmer is another one, who goes later, who the camp news on Josh Palmer is pretty strong right now. And he's a guy that can definitely get some points. The problem is when I look at the 3 receivers, Shakir, Coleman, and Palmer, I think most of them are floor guys with the exception of Coleman. He's only in year 2, had a little bit of injuries. We don't really know fully what he's going to be yet. So I think a guy like Coleman gives some upside on he could be a spike week guy. We just don't know it yet. So I definitely like Coleman more where he goes than the others, but I'm fine drafting any Buffalo receiver at the cost that they're being drafted at. Right now, my most drafted Buffalo Bills player is Dalton Kincaid because I'll take him on any team. He doesn't have to be stacked. He's on a great offense. I think he's going to have a really good year. He's going to continue to get better, a little healthier. And so we definitely want Zay Flowers here to pair him up with Lamar. Let that dream happen. Please. I'm asking nicely. And we will. This is perfect. So we got Zay Flowers to pair up with Lamar. Love how this shook out for us here. We'll see what comes back at 64, and then we'll kind of wrap up the Buffalo Bills, conversation. Let's see. Definitely can go a lot of directions here. I'm pretty comfortable with really anything here. The only guy I'm not taking a lot of is Juwan Jennings. If you've heard any of my streams in the past, I'm not a Juwan Jennings guy. I'm not where he used to go in cost. He's dropped in expense because of various reasons. But let's see here. So James Conner falls. He's ADP of 59. We're going to get him at 64. Just a slight faller, nothing crazy. But I don't mind taking him here. Let me flip this around for you guys while we continue to talk about Buffalo. So just to finish that off, so Dalton Kincaid, out of all of them, or the running backs, you can take them, and feel fine taking them. If I'm going to be overweight anybody on this team, Josh Allen, of course, would be fine. And then Dalton Kincaid, who I am overweight on right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with Buffalo. Let me jump over here real quick for you and show you the Miami Dolphins depth chart real quick, and then I'll jump back and we can talk about it. So just kind of as a quick visual, you've got Tua, starting quarterback, Achane, Jalen Wright, Madison, and Gordon. So the rookie's technically 4th in the pecking order, theoretically. The wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and then you have Malik Washington, who's really the only other viable receiver, that you want to pull, and then Darren Waller, over here. So just talking about Miami for a second. So Tua, there's injury risks there, but he goes so low in drafts. So from a standpoint of, okay, am I willing to take Tua? Yes, I'm willing to take Tua. To take Tua. But I don't take Tua unless he's paired up with Waddle or Tyreek Hill. That's just the only way I do it. I mean, last year he did have 5 weeks where he was a top 10 finish in a quarterback that week. So he did have some potential, but the year before he was the number 11 quarterback in all of fantasy football with 270 PPR points. So he's got a strong season in his outcome, and he's proven that 2 years ago before the concussions really set in. All right, let's see what we're going to do, and then we'll keep talking Dolphins here. Montgomery goes. Joe Mixon's falling. He's all the way down to 72. So with a guy like this, most people are like, oh, I'm not going to draft him. He's going to be, out and he's going to miss a bunch of time. That's true. Let him keep falling and then take pieces of him, because there was a whole bunch of people that have already drafted in this tournament that have him way earlier. And sorry, one second. Let's go. Let's try something here. I'm going to go Godwin here. So I've got double Tampa Bay. My plan now is in 6 picks, I'm going to take Baker and be done at quarterback, and I will have double stacked Tampa Bay. And I'll have a single stack with Baltimore, and then we'll kind of see how this plays out. Normally when I get an elite quarterback like Lamar, I really don't get a second quarterback this early. But Godwin, I don't know. I do have a good amount of him, and I don't have a ton of Baker. So this feels like a team that maybe this is a chance to play, to take advantage of that. And I really don't need to push running back right now because I've got 2 solid guys. Any of these would be fine. I prefer Robinson over Pollard and Mason. And then I would argue I think Mason's going to split with and he's already doing that in camp. I think Mason's going to split reps this year with Aaron Jones. All right, so we get Baker. So we double stack. We're going to be done at quarterback for sure. We've got single stack with Baltimore, double stack Tampa Bay. Not a bad start. We'll see how things kind of continue to roll out. So going back to Miami, so 2 I'm taking when I can pair them up with Tyreek or Waddle, but I'm not going out of my way. I will not be overweight to there's other quarterbacks that I'd rather have, but I'm fine with where he goes. Running backs, Devon Achane, I want him. I want them all. He could be a league winner. I 1,000% would take Achane anytime I can get him with where he goes. He's fine in terms of the value. So if you look up here, Achane goes in the back half of the second round. I've been getting him sometimes in the mid-second, which causes a little bit more unique pairings with some guys. But, I'd rather have Achane over Henry. And for me, it's a coin flip between Genti and Achane. I'm going to be overweight both of them. Henry I like, but I like getting him in the middle of the second after these guys go. So I have Henry after these guys in my rankings. So Achane, totally, he could be a dominant player. It could be a league winner. Let's see. Shamrock says it feels like where BTJ, Worthy, and Bowers went last year are where Travion, Harvey, and KJ go this year. The wide receiver. Yeah, and it's funny because the wide receiver avalanche, is what we call it, last year was ridiculously more aggressive, where when you look at the first 5 rounds of the board, there's a healthy mix of a few tight ends, red, orange and green, running backs, wide receivers. I mean, this was flooded with orange last year because there was a massive avalanche, and you were able to get some good values on running backs last year. That's why everybody wanted to go. Zero RB was so popular last year, and it absolutely ended up being not the right strategy. It was the anchor running backs with the avalanche wide receivers that ended up paying off. So, all right, let's turn this around. Let's see what we got coming. And then we'll keep talking some Miami Dolphins. I want to get more depth here at wide receiver, but I do like the fact that Mark Andrews is here to pair up with Lamar. So I think in my perfect world, I'm going Andrews, and then Shaheed is probably going to be my my perfect world here. So now we're double stacked with both our quarterbacks, which this is earlier than I normally get a chance to double stack players. So this feels a little bit earlier. And Shaheed goes. We don't need any quarterbacks. We're out on that. I don't need to have another tight end, and we don't have any Denver. We don't really need running back. I'm not clicking Judkins right now. So, I mean, we might be a little bit in trouble here, but I think I'm going to have to scroll down farther than I'm comfortable doing normally and grab Christian Kirk. I'm trying to tell myself I don't have to do that. You know what? I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm gonna go ahead and take Tracy. And I'm just gonna be okay with it. I don't feel good about it. I kind of wish, I feel like almost that maybe I could have done this a little differently. I'm not thrilled with how this is turning out, but maybe I'll feel better soon enough. You'll think likely will be okay. Absolutely. I really do. I think he's going to be fine. Who knows what's going to happen throughout the season, but I'm not afraid to keep drafting him. And where he goes in drafts makes sense. It's one of those boom bust type things, right? Because you don't know if it's going to be Andrews, if it's going to be likely. And I personally think that they're going to kind of flip flop this year. You'll get 1 week is Andrews' week, and then 1 week is going to be Likely's week. And if you're playing 3 tight ends, that's okay, because if they both pop off on a good offense, then it's okay to have them both on your team, honestly. And if one gets hurt, the other one could be a absolute smash. Going back to Miami, so I'm in on Achane. Jalen Wright, I'm overweight on Jalen Wright, their backup running back. He is electrically fast. They talked about in the off season how he added a little bit of weight and muscle. And so he's in great shape. And they drafted, Ollie Gordon, but he was a late draft pick. So I really think that it's Jalen Wright right behind Achane. And if something happens to Achane, I think he's an absolute smash and where he goes in draft. So he's got the kind of boom bust profile I like in a player. That's my kind of architect. So I'm taking a bunch of him. Wide receivers, we're talking Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle are the guys that everybody normally gets. I have a bunch of both. Tyreek Hill right now has been mostly going in the second round. Here he fell to the early third. Earlier in the drafting season, I was getting him in the middle back of the third. So, but I'm still in on him. He's the kind of player, like I said, that's my archetype of player. I want players that can absolutely crush and win me a week, win me a season, break out. He's shown that he can be a absolute dominant receiver. And if he doesn't, I'm okay dying on that sword, but I don't want to get beat by guys that have Tyreek Hill on their team and I faded him completely or something. So I'm not saying I'll be overweight Tyreek Hill, but I will definitely have my fair share of him. All right. So this is where we're gonna have to make some magic happen here. So here's what we're gonna do. My man, the big Q, I have a lot of faith in him. We're going to grab him. We need more receiver help. So I feel good about grabbing him here. And then we don't need quarterback. Kyle Williams makes no sense to me where he's going unless you have Drake May, and I still don't like it. I just don't like it. Not opposed to that. So we may just do like a Ray Davis, or maybe we get a second tight end. Sorry, bear with me here 1 second. All right. We'll just go ahead and take Ray Davis here as our fourth running back. I'm not loving how this team has turned out. I feel like I got a little bit too aggressive on a couple of picks there. Okay, so yeah, so where was I? Tyreek Hill. Yeah, so Min on Hill. I have a lot of Waddle. Waddle, you have to kind of look at Waddle as a younger version of Tyreek Hill in the sense that they are a similar archetype type player. He is also showing breakout potential. If that offense, goes back to what they did 2 years ago, if everybody stays healthy, Waddle could smash. He's in the 5th round this year because he had a little bit of an off year last year. But if you look at where he is compared to guys like, let's see, let me go up a little bit. George Pickens is a 2, on a team. Devonta Smith. So he's kind of going around similar players. But last year he was going in like the 3rd round. And so maybe even the 2nd. So he's fallen this year, but he's still got the talent profile to win. So I'm actually overweight on him. But these guys in the 5th round, I really like the wide receivers here. The only running back I like in the 5th round is Kenneth Walker. I don't really care for RJ Harvey. Kamara's okay, but I don't want a lot of him. All right, this is coming back around. And then real quick, just to finish off the Dolphins, you got Malik Washington, Nick Westbrook, Akine. I'll throw it in there for a double stack if I need it on a team with 8 receivers. And then their tight end, Darren Waller. Let me just say this. I think it's somewhat of a joke that Waller decides to unretire and come back to the NFL. Supposedly he's in great shape. The only time I will take Darren Waller is if I have Tua. And even then, I really still don't want him unless I'm, on a double stack, I guess. But I really don't want him. So this is what I'm talking about with the wide receivers, sir. We have 5 wide receivers, and they're fine. Don't get me wrong. But the avalanche continues. Like, people have just ripped wide receivers. And so they've left all these quarterbacks and things. This is why I always say you don't have to reach on quarterbacks. They'll come to you. I do like Demario Douglas. So we'll grab him and see what comes back. And I think I want Jalen Wright. And we may be done. We'll see running back because I may need to go. I'm probably definitely going 8 wide receivers here, 3 tight ends. So we may end up stopping at 5 running backs. I think we're gonna, and that should be fine. When we have Genty as our, anchor, we're treating him as such, and these other 4 guys that we're gonna have up. Okay, what a run on running backs here! Wow, and I liked all 4 of them. They're putting me in a bad spot. All right, next guy I like. Well, next man up. I'm in on Braylon Allen. I think there's going to be a little bit more of a 50-50 workload there in New York. So if I can get Braylon Allen here, which we're going to talk about him in just a little bit because he's in the AFC East, I can get him in the 14th round, or I can go up here and get Breece Hall in, where is he? Where did he go in this draft? 36 in the 3rd round. If they're going to split workload and they're both showing that they're flashing and all that in the, in preseason, if they're going to split, give me the guy who's got the same, theoretically, I don't think he's got the same profile talent-wise. So I think Breece Hall is the more talented running back. But if he's showing like that they're going to ball out and, and they're going to use him a lot, he's a better selection at 14 than Breece Hall is at where he goes. All right. So with that, let me do this real quick. Let's go over to, we did the Bills, Dolphins. I'm just going to jump. Let's just go to the Jets. Let's come back to the Patriots for a second. I'll just flash this and we'll go right back. Justin Fields, a quarterback. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, running back, I think 1A, 1B. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson. And then who? Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith, the rookie, Alan Lazard, Malachi Corley. And then Mason Taylor at tight end. So I got to be honest with you guys. I'm kind of laughing a little bit at the New York Jets. So I like Garrett Wilson a lot. He's going to be loaded with targets because you don't even know who else is going to catch the ball. And then I like Mason Taylor where he goes at 14. I think he's a fine. I mean, you're taking a shot on a rookie. He's got upside. They're looking for pass catchers that might actually be talented on that team. And I don't know that they have very many. I do like Justin Fields. I'm not worried about his toe injury. And he can run. So it's kind of guy I like. So I'm perfectly fine with Justin Fields. I get a good amount of Garrett Wilson. That's kind of where I'm at on the receivers. I'm really not drafting much of any other receivers in the Jets. It's a bad offense. They're going to stink. So just give me Garrett Wilson, who's explosive. It's going to be a target hog. Give me a running quarterback. And then their rookie tight end. I'm good with those. Let's see here. So this is fun. We're going to do this. We need receivers. So I now have a triple stack with Baltimore because I took DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm not even not upset about it. I could triple stack Tampa Bay. I'm not liking how this is playing out, guys. I got to be honest with you. I mean, stacking is good and optimal, but I don't want to triple stack two teams and be that far in. It's just a little bit scary. So Dante Thornton, if you haven't paid attention, he's working with the first team unit. I've paid a lot of attention. He ran a 4.30 or 4.3 at the 40-yard dash, the scouting combine. They're saying he's showing out at camp. They're looking for receivers that are going to show up. I like his profile. Again, you got that speedy, twitchy receiver, rookie. So he's got young, nothing but to prove, and he's getting drafted late in these drafts. If you need a receiver, he's a guy I don't mind taking some flyers on. So, all right. So where we're at, we got two more picks. So our option here is we're going to get one tight end for sure. We could even go 9 wide receivers, which would be kind of crazy. Or we can just get 2 tight ends and call it a day. So we're at Lamar and Baker at quarterback. Ashton Genty, James Conner, Tyrone Tracy, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen at running back. I feel pretty good about this room overall. Wide receiver, Neighbors, Mike Evans, Zay Flowers, Chris Godwin, Quentin Johnston, Demario Douglas, DeAndre Hopkins, Dante Thornton, and then Mark Andrews at tight end. I don't love the wide receiver room, and I think it's bothering me because I did too much extra stacking. It might just be too much. I might have just went a little crazy there. So do as I say, not as I do, I guess, for this draft. But who knows? Anything can happen. Jacoby. Jacoby. I don't even know who we're talking about here. Oh, Jacoby Myers. I'm sorry. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I like Jacoby Myers. So I'm not going to be overweight on him. Where he goes in drafts, I think is fine. But I feel like he could be a guy that's like a floor guy, kind of safe pick. He's going to get some catches every week. He's going to be a target guy every week. But I don't see him as being like a league winner. And so when I need a guy and I want to mix him in, or if I have Malik Neighbors, I maybe grab him because that's that week 17 correlation. So there's a little bit more added value to have him on your team. So I'm not overweight Jacoby Myers at all. But that's not to say I don't like him, if that makes sense. But I'm not big on a ton of the Raiders, except for I like Brock Bowers and I like Ashton Genty. But I guess that's not much of a shocker. But I think where they're going in drafts is just fine. All right, let's see what we got coming around. So look, K-Dotton is still sitting here. It's like this draft is screaming for me to just go ahead and take this man and triple stack them too. And I mean, what are we doing here? We're just having some fun, right? I might have just thrown. I might have just tossed a bunch of $25 into the garbage can with this draft. I don't really know. I don't feel great about what I'm doing here. I just don't. But I do think K. Dotton's a good tight end. I think he's going to catch passes. I think he's going to have a role in this offense. And listen, if Baker Mayfield is like and Lamar Jackson are the two best quarterbacks in the league this year for some ungodly reason, then we have like all their pass catchers that at least they're stars. And so if nothing else, then they're going to bring along everybody else. And it maybe this team is elite. Maybe this is just we're making a super concentrated bet on both these teams being great, and it pays off for us. That's kind of what we have to say to ourselves when we draft a team like this, that we're basically saying that, hey, these guys are going to go off. They're going to be the best quarterbacks in the league this year, and they're bringing pass catchers along with them. And we have strong teams. We'll do, if Dalton, we'll pick our last pick here, and then we'll recap the team, and then I will get into another Best Ball Mania. If you want to join and draft with me, you can be prepared. I have a link in Underdog Fantasy in the description below. And then I'll kind of do a little bit of a countdown. There is like a 5-second delay. So like if I click it, I've actually clicked it 5 seconds before. I think that's how YouTube does the delays. So pretty much when you see me click, you want to click at the same time, and you should be able to get into a draft with me. All right, let's go over this team. So we got Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. We know they're both triple stacked, which is kind of crazy. Ashton Genty, James Conner, Tyrone Tracy, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, running back, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Zay Flowers, Chris Godwin, Quentin Johnston, the Big Q, Demario Douglas, DeAndre Hopkins, Dante Thornton at wide receiver. Tight end, we got Mark Andrews, K. Dotton, and Dalton Schultz. So we made some serious bets here. I don't hate the team. It's not my favorite team, but I don't hate the team. So they can't go crazy though. If you're just joining, so I Sports 101. Listen, I totally agree with you. If you listen to any of my streams, I normally don't like to overstack like this, especially let alone one team, let alone two, right? It's just a little bit too much. So I don't feel great about what we did there. It's not my normal way to draft. But hey, anything can happen. Let's see here. All right, if you guys are going to get in, I'm going to do in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're in. It's waiting on one person, and it's filled already. That was quick. We'll see where we get in this one. The 102. I love it. If you're in here, if you made it in for some reason, just throw that in the chat, and we'll see where you're drafting at. Let me know what position you got. So just kind of going back to the Jets to kind of finish off the Jets for our our NFL AFC East review. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. I'm going to be a little underweight Breece Hall, even though I like him, but I like Braylon Allen where he goes and drafts more. And as a best ball drafter, I'm looking for value, not just talent. It's not just who the player is, it's where they go, and what you're going to get out of it. So, but I'm not going to be overweight on the New York Jets by any means. That's for sure. All right, let's get our first player here. This draft's going to start, and then we will talk about the New England Patriots. Sack Dance, like that name. Jamar Chase, as always. We'll grab Bijan here, anchor running back. We'll flip this back over. So real quick, let's go over here. Let's jump into the New England Patriots depth chart just to kind of get a visual on it. You'll see that quarterback Drake May, running backs, we know there's the two. Ramondre is still technically the lead right now with Travion Henderson behind him. They have Stephon Diggs, Demario Douglas, who you just saw me take, Mac Hollins are considered the starting 3 receivers right now. But then, honestly, other than Diggs, I feel like Douglas is really the only one who's going to be a little more consistent. I think you can see Kyle Williams is a rookie. Mac Hollins is still kind of there. Keyshawn Butte, if I say that right, Kendrick Bourne. I mean, Jalen Polk, who they drafted last year, Javon Baker. If I'm being honest, I don't like any of the Patriots receivers. I don't have a strong take on him. I hate Kyle Williams where he goes, and I'm okay if Kyle Williams is like the league winner this year, and I just didn't draft a lot of him, then so be it. I can't bring myself to draft him. I just don't like where he's at. But I do like Stephon Diggs. I'm okay with drafting him, especially when I'm planning on getting Drake May. Demario Douglas is a slot type receiver, and with Demario Douglas, he's a guy who can play all over the field. Think of him like that Ladd McConkey type or that Cooper Kupp type, where they're going to move him around and he's got some speed. So he's the kind of player I like to draft in my teams. I'll get some of him. I'm not going to be overweight on him by any means. I'll actually probably end up underweight. I'm only going to really focus him when I get, my Drake May teams. So I'm not big on the receivers. Sports says Jets wide receivers won't be as good with a run-heavy quarterback like Fields. Yeah, I agree. And I don't think they're going to have to throw the ball, though, because they're going to play from behind. So they will be forced to throw more than people think because they're not very good. But I will say that I'm okay with where Garrett Wilson goes because of the talent. He's going to get a ton of targets. And there are offenses that can support, taking players like that, and they'll do just fine. And they'll be great fantasy options for you. I mean, look at Ladd McConkey last year. He's going in the second round now on a run-first offense with the Chargers. And that's what they want to do. They want to run the football. And Ladd McConkey was a smash last year. And I don't want to say nobody saw it coming, but you would not have bet that the Chargers offense was going to be able to support a receiver, for example, but they did. I'm kind of hoping I get Tyreek Hill here. If not, we're probably going to skip out on these other running backs. I'm going to get my favorite guy in the draft. Y'all have heard me talk about it. I think Marvin Harrison is my favorite pick in all of best ball drafts right now with where he goes. He's my guy in wide receivers, and I'm going to continue to say it. Now I'm going to look for Devontae Adams. I have no problem with McBride. I have an average amount of him. I like Josh Jacobs. We'll talk about Bucky another time. I'm not a Bucky guy. We'll get Adams. So with Adams over Wilson, normally if I'm just having Adams and Wilson, I'll take them both 50-50. But I take Adams here because they have Week 17 correlation because the Rams play Atlanta in Week 17. And if that's the game that goes off in the best ball finals and I'm there, I've got two guys that can really help push me over the edge and win me $2 million. So it's a pretty good start. Shamrock says Wilson and Fields have that college history. Yeah, they do. I mean, Ohio State, which if you don't know, I don't know if I've shared that too much on this stream. I am originally from Ohio, and so I'm a huge Ohio sports guy, Ohio State fan. So sorry if, I made anybody upset with that. But yeah, they have a huge connection. And so I think it could be a fun year for those guys. So did Carr and Adams, but that didn't work out. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's true. I think there's a lot of reasons why they didn't work out. There were some injuries going on there, maybe some bad coaching going on there. It was ugly. I can't disagree with you. But just like anything else, not everything works, right? Like, not everything is going to be great just because of that. But you can't say that everything's the rule. I try to look at things in data and in stats and what's proven to work and versus what's not. That's kind of how I form my draft strategies. That's kind of how I form my opinions on players. And, I've been doing best ball drafts for the last 4 years. And I share this not because, I'm trying to make it sound like I'm, great or anything, but, I've won over $10,000 each of the last 4 years doing this, and I'd like to win even more in some of these bigger tournaments. But I feel like I'm putting myself in a position where I've got at least teams that have a chance. Like, I'm not lighting $25 on fire on most of my drafts, where there's sometimes we're watching people and, they come out of the gate and they're going like double elite quarterback. You can only start one, forget it. Like, why did you even bother enter the tournament? They're just, they're going to be out of the tournament. But there's people that think that these things work. And that's fine. Let them think that way. All right, Worthy goes. So I think what we're gonna try something here. We'll see if it pans out. Actually, let me see this real quick. Yeah, we're gonna go Hurts. We'll hope Sack Dance doesn't take Smith, and we'll try and stack him with Hurts. And we got it. So we have a nice stack here with Hurts and Smith. Feels really good. We have the bring back for week 17 with Adams, Bijan, and my guy Marvin Harrison. I love the start. This start is super exciting. Feels really great. This is the way you want to start Best Ball Mania drafts. This is the kind of team that can win you a lot of money. So we might be winning $2 million with this team if we don't screw it up. Later the stream. Sure. So let me kind of just back up a little bit. Not sure what best ball drafts are. So best ball drafts are there's no time commitment during the season. So when you're drafting a team, you're drafting and the best players play each week and they're automatically selected for you. So you're going to draft 18 players. And each week you get one quarterback will play. 2 running backs will have to play, 3 wide receivers have to play, 1 tight end has to play, and then you get 1 flex. The flex can be a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. You can't be a quarterback unless you're in a super flex draft. And so, like if I go back and kind of, let me just kind of hover over my team. So like, you kind of, so I may draft 2 or 3 quarterbacks, but only one of them can score that week, right? So you're kind of deciding, like, if I take Jalen Hurts here, my strategy is he's considered an elite quarterback. I'm only going to take 2 quarterbacks because I'm counting on him to get a lot of points this year, in this draft. In this league. And then give me 1 second and I'll show you. So this is the Best Ball Mania is one of the many tournaments that they do on Underdog. All of Underdog drafts are best ball. You don't do any trades. You don't do any waiver wires on any of these, things. There's no pickups or anything like that. So this one, you can win up to $2 million for first, $1 million for second. So how it works is weeks 1 through 14, you're in a pod with other teams. If you get through that pod, then you get into week 15 is the quarterfinals, and then week 16 is the semifinals, and then week 17 is the championship. What it looks like is, from the pod standpoint, you got the top 2 out of 12 for weeks 1 through 14 will advance to week 15. Then you're put in another group with 13 other teams. You got to beat those other teams to advance to week 16. Then you got to beat 1 out of 16 in teams in week 16, and then you get to a 539 seat final. So that's kind of what Best Ball Mania is. Now each best ball tournament is a little different. Some are not as many teams, some are smaller, some are higher buy-in, some are lower buy-in. So the tournaments vary. But doing best ball draft, like if you love drafting, and I absolutely love drafting. Actually, hang on 1 second here, guys. Sorry. Let me pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm trying to win $2 million. I don't want to screw it up 100% completely. Joanne Jennings, please go away. I don't really want you whatsoever. There's guys that I want instead. Sam Laporta goes. I like Laporta. I was considering him. We're going to get my man Sticky Ricky. Diggs goes. So I actually was probably going to get Diggs there. I was really looking at him. but instead I may go ahead with one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab Pacheco here. So what were we talking about? Let me flip this around so you guys can kind of see how the teams are going. So I hope that kind of helped explain it a little bit on the best ball piece. So basically, I've already drafted over 350 teams this year, and I'm going to end up drafting probably 700 teams because you can draft as many as you want. Within certain tournaments have caps on how many teams can be drafted, and you don't have to manage them during the season. And it's kind of like, I kind of look at it as like playing the lottery, but you get to do it with fantasy football. And I love drafting teams, so this is fun for me. I've got a lot of experience drafting teams every year, but most people have just starting their drafting and getting ready for their drafts in August for the regular redraft leagues, which I'm in some of those too, and dynasty leagues with friends and stuff. But, I've got a little bit of an advantage now because I've been drafting, since end of April, since basically the NFL draft happened. And so I have a good feel for the values and stats that I've reviewed and my rankings that I've prepared. And I've tried all different kinds of scenarios and draft strategies and seeing what teams do I think are better. What do I feel better about if I go, elite tight end early, if I do double running back, if I go heavy wide receiver, whatever it might be. I feel like I've got an advantage because I've done it so many times. I can tell how my team's going to play out. So I kind of hope that helps you. But I 100% recommend best ball drafting, and my favorite place to do it is here on Underdog Fantasy. In the description down below of all my videos, I put a link to Underdog, and you can make an account there. It's free. And as long as you're in a state that has Underdog, which most of them do, you can join with us and draft live with us if you'd like. Have I been profitable? Yeah. So when I share over 10,000, I'm actually talking, that's profit. I've profited over 10,000 every year. Yeah. So I have not had a knock. Please, Lord, somebody knock on something. I have not had a losing season, so to speak, doing this since I've done it the last 4 years. That's not to say that I won't or can't. Some years are better than others. But so like last year, it's really hard to get a team to the Best Ball Mania finals, but I did get one to the finals last year. Unfortunately, I didn't win $2 million last year, but just getting one to the finals was pretty exciting. I think everybody's a little bit different too. Like every drafter has a different, like if you're going to come in here and go, I just want to draft a few teams. You may want to look at how you draft a little differently than how I am, because I'm going to be spreading out a little bit of my, I guess you will say my player takes to make sure that I'll be overweight some guys, underweight others. All right, let's see. It's coming around. I'm really, really liking how this draft is shaking out for us guys. Would he take? So if I don't take Kyler Murray here, Sack Dance has Trey McBride. I guarantee you he's eyeing up Kyler Murray right now, and he's hoping I don't take him. But I really want to pair him up with Marv. So I'm probably going to upset my man here, but I'm going to do it. And I apologize. And actually, I might even skip out on Travis Etienne. I might even just go Travis Kelce. Sorry, Sack Dance. Goes Harris. I mean, I could even go get another wide receiver, but feel pretty strong with the 4 start. I don't want to get too heavy in that. I'm going to go ahead and grab Travis Kelce. That's what I'm going to do. and we'll see what kind of comes back around. So far we've got Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray at quarterback. We will stop at 2 quarterbacks now that we have them, and we've avoided the double bye week here, which is nice. Running back, we have Bijan Robinson and Isaiah Pacheco. Wide receiver, we have Marvin Harrison, Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, Ricky Pearsall, and Travis Kelce. We did pair up Devontae Smith with Jalen Hurts, and we did pair up Marvin Harrison with Kyler Murray. And this draft I love way better than the last draft I did. This you're still getting correlation. We're getting some values here that are falling to us, and we're pretty well balanced. With how this draft has played out. So I'm super happy about this draft. This is the kind of draft that I can win $2 million with. Just kind of going back to the Patriots, which is I think our last team to discuss tonight, at least in terms of just going through the AFC East. Drake May, I'm underweight on Drake May in terms of how many times I've clicked him this year. I like him. My issue is I don't like his receivers, like I said earlier. So I'm fine with Hunter Henry as his tight end. So like when I get Drake May, I'm trying to get Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry with him, or Demario Douglas. I don't really care for the other receivers. I really don't want to mix them in. Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, I like both of them. I'm happy clicking both of them at where they go in drafts. So I don't have a heavy belief that you need to, oh my gosh, please draft as much of them as you can, but I'm definitely not avoiding them. That's for sure. All right. Kind of getting back to this. We had a run on quarterbacks here. This is pretty normal. It seems like a lot of quarterbacks this year where they tend to fall is between rounds 9 through 12. So that's fairly normal. Let's try not to screw this draft up here. Because this is looking like a winner. I would love it to get one of these guys. Would be really nice here. Shahid's really the guy I wanted. I'm on my wide receiver video that I made when I was drafting on a stream. I went over my guys for wide receivers this year for best ball drafts, and Shahid's one of them. Where he goes just makes a ton of sense. Really showed out the last couple of years, aside from the injuries, even on a bad offense. So I like getting a piece of him. Chances are we have a good chance to get Burden because these guys already have 5 and 6 wide receivers. We're a little more likely to get him, especially now that he's past him, but you just don't know. Yeah, so we'll grab Burden here. Be our 5th wide receiver, which adds a rookie to our team, and rookies are fun. So we could go. We did talk about Ramondre. I mean, this is an AFC North discussion, right? We'll go ahead and get Ramondre. Come on down. You are the 3rd running back on our team. This is a pretty well balanced start, really well balanced team, and I'm still really liking how this draft is kind of falling to us right now. Feels really, really good. If you guys are enjoying any of this or learning anything at all, I appreciate if you guys throw a like down there. You can subscribe and hit the notifications if you're interested. And I try to do this live every day if I can, between 10 p.m. Central and midnight usually. And I'm drafting usually 2 or 3 of these drafts every night. And, the topics will vary. I'll answer any questions. We can chat it up. You can come draft live with me in the drafts. And maybe we'll all win some money together. Hopefully you'll be shooting for $1 million, because it looks like I'm trying to wrap up $2 million with this draft right here. At least that's the goal. But we're just here to have a good time. I don't do this for money. That's not why I do it. I do it because I love fantasy football. I love sports. And listen, I'm going to draft teams whether I'm drafting them here on YouTube or not. But if I can help somebody or we can have a good time doing it, then I'm absolutely going to continue to do this. So I know a couple of you were asking some kind of questions about best ball, just to kind of explain a little bit further. There are other ways when you think about best ball to optimize your teams. So draft strategy matters, right? Like when I talked about the fall off at wide receiver, you don't want to be out on wide receiver and then you're playing catch up. And so like this team here, Jay Baller, went double anchor running back first 2 rounds. Then he has his elite quarterback. His first wide receiver is pick 4. Then he hits running back again. Then he hits him here. Then he goes running back again. Like, so really he's got 3 receivers through 8 rounds. I mean, his team, he might as well have lit $25 on fire because you have to start 3 wide receivers every week, but you can start 4 with the flex. And now he's looking at George Pickens, Ibuka, Juwan Jennings every week, maybe Christian Kirk. Like, he's not going to win with this team. I'm just telling you now, he wasted money. And he can only start 2 running backs every week, maybe a third. So if these are your anchors, why did you waste picks on here? Get some shots on guys later that might jump in there. You're really only starting, for the most part, 2 of them. So it's just a really poorly put together and constructed team. All right. So we're hoping here that Dallas Goedert comes back. We'll double stack him with Jalen Hurts. That'll feel really nice. And then, oh yeah. And then I want to get my guy. I do like all 3 of these running backs here. My favorite being Trey Benson, but I draft a good even amount of these. I'm a little light on Garendo, but all right. So I'm gonna go Goddard, and let's hope Sack Dance doesn't want a wide receiver here, but he may. All right, he left him. So we're gonna take Tillman. So Cedric Tillman. So people are, not familiar. He's going to be the number 2 wide receiver in Cleveland's offense this year. He showed flashes last year. He's still young. He's a 6'3" receiver. If you've never played best ball before, so Puka Nacua was nobody, right, until a couple years ago, and he was going in the 17th, 18th round of these drafts. And people are like, wow, I don't know why I never drafted him. I didn't know who this guy was. He wasn't any good. Well, sometimes it's not just about the talent. When you're on a team that's going to throw the football, and you're just high enough up on the depth chart because they don't have anybody else, those are guys I want to take chances on later in these drafts. Like, I don't want the wide receiver 4, 5, and 6, even if they're on good teams. I want the wide receiver 2 or 3 on any team because they're at least guaranteed to play. They're going to have some playing time. So again, it's all about how you construct your teams. It's about how you understand the value of players. ADP does matter. And when I say ADP, I mean average draft position, or I mean value. What do we got? No kickers or defense best ball. Nope. No kickers, no defense in best ball. No defensive players, none of that. It's actually, let me see if I can scroll on down here. This might be a good visual for you. So from a points perspective, it's half PPR. Half reception. And then here's what you start. You get 18 players. You start 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, 1 tight end, and then 10 other guys. And, you don't have to do anything. The best players will play every week for you automatically based on how many points they score. So it just makes it easy to enjoy drafting teams and having fun doing it. I mean, I did it. I found out about best ball drafting 4 years ago, and my buddy was doing it. And then I watched a couple of other YouTubers kind of like myself that are doing this. And there's some great other channels out there too that kind of do what I'm doing. And a lot of articles, but best ball drafting is so much fun. I would draft 5 or 6 redraft teams, but then I've got to manage them. And I don't know, what everyone's got going on in their life, but life's busy. And, you got to pay attention to 5, 6, 7, 8 teams of waiver wires and trades, and you got to chat with your buddies and whatever. And that's still fine. I do that too, but I love drafting. And if I can draft 700 teams and make some money doing it, and have a good time, I mean, I'm in, so this has worked out for me. All right, we got to make some moves here. So what am I doing? Do I want to do that? Sure. I don't love it, but I'm going to grab it. Might have a role early in the season. Don't know what's going on with Judkins yet. Do I want to stop at 2 tight ends? I might. Let's see here. As you get later in drafts, I'm going to grab Michael Wilson and double stack Arizona. So now I have Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson double stack with Kyler Murray. That feels good. So 1 double stack on a team feels good on a team like this. 2, I mean, when you have 3, 4, then it's usually not. It's not. You go beyond. I mean, it can win, but it's not. It's not ideal. 1 or 2 pass catchers on a team is ideal, and it can be a tight end, a wide receiver, 2 wide receivers. You could even have a stack with a running back, wide receiver, and their quarterback on their team. Those can all work. I'm really, really liking how our team is coming together here. So we got 3 more picks left, and we'll see how we finish this team off and make something happen. But this is, I will say this: if you're new to best ball and you're looking at how do you build a team effectively, that's going to give you a chance to win, $2 million if things fall your way, and this is the type of team, the one I'm building, that's kind of giving you an ideal chance to win. Typically, the build you're going to see is 3 quarterback, 5 running back, 7 wide receiver, 3 tight end, or like some variation of 2 quarterback, 6 running back, 8 wide receiver, 2 tight end, something around there. You should never draft more than 3 quarterbacks because you can only start 1. And you usually only draft 3 quarterbacks when you're not drafting an elite one. And then tight ends, same thing. You're only starting 1, so don't draft more than 3. 2's fine, 3's fine, no more. All right, let me focus here. I'm fine with these guys. I don't really want Will Shipley. D. All right, where are some guys that I like? You know what? I wanted to do. He's way down. Is he gone already? Did someone take him? They did. All right, I'm missing a guy that I was going to go for. All right, that's fine. So Miles Sanders is a fun one, by the way. They're talking about a knee bruise, but he is splitting reps and competing with Javonte for Dallas's running back position, and I kind of find it funny, if I'm being honest. All right, we have 2 more picks. Oh man. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop at 2 tight ends here. I think this might be good enough, and I'm going to get 1 more of each: 1 running back, 1 wide receiver. I'm going to grab Taj Brooks. Actually, I don't have a lot of him. So Cincinnati, by the way, with Taj Brooks, so they cut Zach Moss the other day. I guess basically not only was he coming back from the broken neck last year, but he showed up to camp. He was out of shape and fat, and so they cut him. So that gives more reason why Taj Brooks could have a path to playing time. And, he's a rookie, so those are exciting ways to go. So we'll grab 1 more wide receiver here in this team, and we'll be done. We could, just see. I'm just going to look for some guys that I like that have some value. I like Diamond Brown too. When I get down to the end of drafts like this, round 18, I'm just kind of taking shots on guys that might have a chance to do something. So I'm just kind of queuing some guys up to try and I'll figure it out at the end. But I like to mix up my round 18 picks just to kind of get an idea of, you never know who might score some points, right? When you're doing a round 18 wide receiver, I mean, he's your 8th wide receiver. You are not counting on him to get you points because, again, you're only starting 3, maybe 4. So, like, the chances of him jumping these guys in performance and scoring regularly is slim. But, you never know when it helps. And sometimes correlating them is a good idea as well. So, sports. I know you said you're from Ohio, but can you give me your top 3 NFL teams? Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna say the Browns just because I'm a loyal guy. I think they're the best team in the NFL? Obviously not. I'm a realist here. So I like the Browns. I mean, that's really the only team from a who do I love standpoint. I hate the Steelers, so that's obvious. I don't hate the players. I just hate the Steelers. They're our rival. I'm trying to think of teams that I like to watch that are fun to watch. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that are Eagles fans, so Eagles was fun last year to kind of ride the wave of fun with them, and they're kind of like a blue collar town, kind of like Ohio is. So the way their fans are is similar to ours. So who are we gonna go with? I'm gonna take Jordan Whittington. So and then I don't know. I mean, I'm really not that passionate about other teams, if that makes sense, other than my own. But I love football in general. I love watching it. I love I've played it. Love fantasy. So I'm just passionate. Like, I'll watch any game. I can find value in any game. All right. So finishing this team up, we have a 2-6-8-2 build. We have Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray at quarterback, Bijan Robinson, Isaiah Pacheco, Ramondre Stevenson, Jerome Ford, Miles Sanders, Taj Brooks at running back, wide receiver Marvin Harrison, Devontae Adams, Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall, Luther Burden, Cedric Tillman, Michael Wilson, Jordan Whittington. And then at tight end, we have Travis Kelce and Dallas Goedert. We did double stack Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith with our quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Kyler Murray, we did a double stack with Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson. With Arizona, they play in week 17, which is the fantasy football finals. If you make it there with any team, they play Cincinnati. So we have what's called a bring back because we do play. We have Taj Brooks on the team. So, I mean, it's not much of a bring back, but it's a guy. And Chase Brown goes down, and he's the guy playing in week 17, and he goes off for some reason, and then Arizona goes off, and that's the best scoring game that week. That can win. So this team's good enough to win. But just as an example, just to kind of go back to what sports you were talking about, like how does it kind of work? With running backs, I can only start 2 each week, right? So I'm drafting Bijan, second overall. I'm counting on him to be pretty much an every week guy. He's going to have, score points almost every week. So between these 5 other guys throughout the season, I'm hoping they will, pull their weight and, pull up some really strong performances throughout the year, right? If Isaiah Pacheco in week 1 is, goes off, then these are the guys that scored, right? But if he has a bad week or goes down and gets injured, then, maybe Ramondre has week 2 and 3, and then, you kind of get the idea. Same thing, wide receivers, you can only start 3, 4 if you use the flex, and, you're only going to get points from that particular week from 4 of these guys, 3 to 4 of these guys. And then tight end 1 of them. So just whoever has more points this week, that's who's gonna score, so to speak. So that's kind of how that works. Hey, thanks, Shamrock. Appreciate it, brother. I feel good about this one. This could be the one. If you guys are here and we win $2 million, that'll be a special moment. We'll replay this and we'll go famous together. From Michigan, and I'm MSU and Lions fan. Oh, I'm glad you said that, Lions. So I love what the Lions are doing. They're kind of like Philly, kind of like Cleveland, in terms of just that grit. Like, I watched the not necessarily the best start from a preseason standpoint tonight for the Lions, but I love what the Lions are all about. I love Coach Dan Campbell. I'm a fan. Not a Michigan guy because, you're a little bit of a rival there. I'm an Ohio State guy, so, don't shoot me. But I get it. You got to stay loyal. Actually, one of my best friends that I worked with for years, he's from Michigan, and I spoke with him yesterday, and, we always kind of pick on each other. So, all right. What time is it? 11:51? I don't know if I'm going to get into one more or not tonight. Here's some of the other, I guess I'll just show you guys this real quick. There's some of the other draft type tournaments that are out there. They add more tournaments throughout the drafting season. So like different entry levels, they're all best ball teams, but slightly different. Like the Husky here, you can only enter, maximum was 10 entries. I've gone in twice in here. But there's less people in this tournament. There's only going to be, like right now, there's going to be 11,000 people in here, not 672,000, like the Best Ball Mania, right? So the seating is different, but you're not winning 2 million. First place is 50,000, so stuff like that. So different kind of tournaments, but they're all best ball. This one's fun. This is weekly winners. They give a prize every week. Someone wins 20 grand every week, whoever the best team is, and it's just whoever scored the most points that week with your team. So a little bit of change on the strategy and how stuff like that works. Big dog, like there's only 2,100 teams that are going to be in this. It's a $500 entry. You can enter maximum 64 times in this. I think maybe it was 65. I don't remember. I think I've got a team in here already. But it's a $500 entry fee to get in. But you can win 200,000, and there's only 2,160 teams in this. So, it depends on what you're looking to do. Like how many teams you can draft, what your budget is, but they do have drafts where like there's not a lot of smaller ones right now, but they will probably, I'd say by tomorrow, you'll see some that are $3 draft and buy-ins, $5, $7. There was one this year. They called it the Dalmatian, or the little Dalmatian. It was $1. So that was interesting. And let's just kind of look at, since we did, so you can see I've drafted 392 teams so far for the main season. I did do preseason drafting 19. I've got some eliminators and some of those weekly winners, and I did do 20 super flex teams, but we'll just look at these. So 392 teams so far. Let's look at the exposures. We did talk a little bit about the AFC North. I'm sorry, the AFC East today. So we'll see if I have any of that. So like Miami, like I have 11.5% of my teams have Tua on them. 11.3 have Josh Allen. So clearly, when you look at my teams here, these two ended up being drafted a lot. But the reason Tua is on a lot of my teams right now is because I'm in on Tyreek Hill and Waddle. So I tend to stack Tua to stack it with my quarterback, right? Josh Allen, he's Josh Allen, and I'm in on him. So I'm trying to see who else was. So there's Fields. I'm only 7.6% on him. 8% is considered average. So that kind of gives you an idea of your splits there. And then who am I missing? Drake May. I've only drafted 5.5% of my teams are Drake May teams. So I'm underweight on Drake May. Tight end, we'll just look at that real quick because it's easy. Mason Taylor, he's my second highest drafted tight end. With where he goes, I mean, he's a rookie. I like taking shots on rookies. There's Kincaid. I said I was going to be overweight him. I pretty much have him on every single one of my Josh Allen teams. What other? Who else? There's Hunter Henry. I'm a little underweight on him, but I have some pieces of him. And then who am I missing? Oh, that's right, Miami. Ha, Darren Waller, 2.1%. Yeah, I'm not going to get much of Darren Waller at all, and I'm okay with it. Running backs, let's see here. There's Ramondre. He's actually, wow, he's really crept up. He's my 5th most drafted running back. I just like where he's at in value. I find a reason to click him. Jalen Wright's up there. Ray Davis is really, wow, I did not realize I had that much Ray Davis. So with August, by the way, August is kind of like the prime month for drafting. That's when like everybody comes out of the woodwork. The regular drafters, I'll call it, come out. Meanwhile, people like myself have been drafting until April. So at this point, this is kind of when I start to look at my exposures and start to focus on drafting players. There's Breece Hall, 8.9. And I'll try and make sure there's Achane, 7.6. I want more of him. I want to be over 8% on Achane. And I'm going to try and purposely draft in August to balance out my exposures a little bit better with certain players that I like. Like Braylon Allen, I like him. I'm underweight Braylon Allen, but I will purposely make sure when I'm down there to click him. But there might be guys at the top, like I don't want to be this high on Ramondre, so I'm probably going to stop clicking him for a second. Let him go back down, right? And then wide receiver. There's my guy. I'm proud to be overweight on him, and he will be by the end of this thing. Marvin Harrison will be my most drafted wide receiver without a doubt, and I'm okay with it. There's Waddle, so I'm pretty high on Waddle. There's Tyreek Hill, not too far behind. So when I say the things I'm saying, there's Garrett Wilson, 11.3%. When I say what I say, Keon Coleman, I'm not just saying it. I back it up because that's who I'm actually believing in. So you guys don't think I'm just saying, hey, this guy's great, and then I don't actually end up, going that direction. So so wide receivers a little harder because there's so many. Diggs, a little underweight. So just to give you an idea of how I've spread out my exposure so far. And I'll try and balance it out a little bit more as I go. So, well, thank you guys for being on. I'm going to jump out. I'll probably be on tomorrow as well. And again, I appreciate if you throw me a like, subscribe, share the video out with some friends. If you want to draft with me, there's a link in the description below. You can click and jump in an underdog draft with us. And looking forward to talking to you guys again tomorrow. Y'all have a great night and hopefully have a good day tomorrow.